I have always made technology my hobby that helped me be more productive in my business. And through the years, it's changed what was important for PCs, then later the internet, and now recently artificial intelligence or AI. A lot of hype. Most of I see oriented towards real estate agents is misleading. They want you to automate stuff that you shouldn't even be doing. Yet, I use artificial intelligence every day for my business. I'm really excited to share today somebody who's knowledgeable on applying artificial intelligence as a reverse mortgage originator, David Ryder from Nexa Mortgage. David, past guest on our show. Thanks for coming back.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Bill.
So
It's
let's
always
talk
a
about kind
pleasure
of
to be
cut through
here.
the hype on AI. How do you actually use? What tools are you using, and what are the actual systems or procedures that you're able to automate to make yourself more productive or valuable to your customers?
Okay, thanks for asking. So, I got to share first. My big aha on AI is it's an equalizer
Hmm.
in the respect that you may have from either a consumer's viewpoint or a an LO's viewpoint. It helps elevate the field so we can all deal with the same basis. Let me explain in how I use it. So on a personal level, my preferred engine is Gemini. Real simple. Chat, GPT, Gemini, don't care. I happen to have through my work come through Nexa Mortgage, we're a enterprise account with Google, so we get Gemini. So that's the one I focus on because it stays within my workspace. So as an
Yeah.
LO, that's important to me, and then
So
they
let's just
all
stop
work
one
the same.
second. Let me just
Hmm.
kind of clarify there. So it's part of the package. I also am a Google Enterprise user for my business, and as a result, I have access to Gemini. But what's nice is it accesses my Google content, and it doesn't share it because you're paying money to be a user, as opposed to the free ChatGPT. It keeps the content within Google, within my access, and so therefore I can analyze personal information that I could not do on a public ChatGPT.
Yes,
And for
that's
you, you're dealing with
exactly
people's
correct.
financials and numbers, and intimate financial stuff. All the more so, you have to be limited in what you can do.
Absolutely. So and the importance of that, both from an LO's viewpoint and a consumer's viewpoint, is privacy because
Yeah,
AI learns off the input. So you gotta stop that.
yeah,
Um, the other benefit, and again, this is not. They all do the same thing.
mm,
They all do the same thing. But the things that we can do, we start with AI as, hey, make this sound better. But
mm,
then there's profiles or personalities or
mm,
experts. So I get a lot of emails every single day. I created what's called a gem that said, you're an email expert. You know how to sort, you know how to read my email and identify projects, identify urgencies, identify this. And I save that little instruction, and then when I'm in my Gmail, I can say, hey, this is my personality. Gemini, look at my email for the past 3 days and tell me what's going on.
yeah. It has an amazing ability. Again, I use Gemini as well as a couple other programs to kind of look back at your workflow and summarize it and kind of remind you of things that maybe you close the loop on in your mind, but really need a follow up or worthy of a follow up, as well as helping put in context what's going on. It's amazing how it can. Or I had a case where an attorney wanted a list of all the communications on a certain thing, and I've used Google Search in the past, and it's not infallible, but the Gemini gave me a much better analysis tool to give to the attorney.
Hmm. Well, and you can also, one of the ones I did, I said, identify pain points. Anytime you're in a process business,
Mm,
there's pain points.
mm-hmm,
So, and if your primary communication is an email, which for most people it is, that's where
right,
most things start.
right.
You can have it go back and look for pain points, things that
Mm,
happen on a reoccurring basis. So it's great to talk about AI. I have one friend that, oh, AI I mean, it will change the world, but I want to know the practical uses of it.
yeah.
So as an LO, I'm going to use it to identify pain points in my process, to identify consistent consumer questions, things that my eye may not be drawn to because I'm in the midst of the business. AI can kind of look at it from a 10,000 viewpoint. It can help me sound more intelligent. I have limited college. I'll be the first to admit. You, I can't create super spreadsheets and stuff, but AI can. I
Amazing
still come up with
spreadsheets.
the idea,
Yes.
and AI does the technical skills. And if you think of it that way
Yeah.
and you embrace it, then you're part of what's going forward. And if you shy away from it, quite honestly, as a income producer,
Yeah.
and we'll just call it that, as an income producer, you're going to
Yeah.
be left behind or at a strategic disadvantage.
So I try to think of the AI. I'm just curious. I want to share my feedback and get some feedback from you. I think of AI as three things or three activities. I put in my to-do list every day to spend 30 minutes doing something in AI just to practice, learn, participate. Sometimes, most time it's in Gemini. Oftentimes I use other services to learn
Hmm.
what they're doing as well. That's just
Hmm.
purely education. So if I don't get
Hmm.
anything out of it other than repetition and learning, that's fine. Second, I do try to use it for things that don't really save me a lot of time or do a lot more, like summarizing emails,
Hmm.
and I discover, wow, that did a better job than I did, not by earth-shattering amount, but it did a better job.
Hmm.
And at the same time, I'm better by 10, 15%, 50% or whatever.
Hmm.
And the third is there's certain heavy lift things that it does that I couldn't possibly do without the AI. One of them is I'll take a video that I liked and I'll summarize it. In fact, there's a tool that I use called NotebookGPT.io that
Hmm.
specifically works with YouTube videos.
Hmm.
Put in a video and it summarizes it and will give takeaways, and you can chat with it to summarize it and put it in a format you want. And so something that has good content, and I want, rather than taking notes, that becomes my note taker, and go back and review 8 points, 10 points. So that, or create something of value, I can send to an attorney, or in my case, or a real estate agent, or a manager, or a client, and so it becomes like a superpower. Now that's not so common, but when
Hmm.
it is, it is. So talk a little bit about how do you think about AI, because so much is changing. It's coming at us all the time. You're in the midst of your business. You're originating loans. You're processing loans. You're getting loans closed. How do you fit it into your workflow?
I wrote down what you just said, and it's funny because we great minds think alike. So, first quarter, January 1st, I said in my staff, this is AI quarter. You
Hmm.
must use AI
Hmm.
on a daily basis. I don't care
Hmm.
how, but I'm going to ask you, and you're going to keep hearing me say, put in AI, put in AI, because we don't know what we don't know.
Hmm.
And so I got that environment going. And what I find is if you do something for 90 days, not 21 days, but 90 days, it does become a habit. It becomes more of a, okay, I'm comfortable with it because this thing is scary. So just like you, I incorporate it. Can I do this in AI? And it's okay to say no, but it's also okay to say yes. Like you, and I do it through subscriptions. There's a great YouTube videos out there. I do a Patreon account. I found a real good guy. I'm more than happy to share
Yeah.
as appropriate with you.
Yeah.
But
Which one?
this is, just a second, I'll bring him up
Okay.
because this guy
There's so
is
many of them, and
phenomenal. Right.
now I will say this: there's so much information for free that I don't get to, that
Hmm.
I've looked at signing up, and there's one that I liked, but I have a conflict with the time of the week of their meeting, and so I haven't signed up with them as a result. But there's a lot of it, some of it's style,
Hmm.
and I would say 9% of it's not valuable, and 10% of them are really good. So when I hear somebody who uses one and is happy with it, I'm definitely all ears.
Oh, it's absolute. And I'm going to go to his Patreon account as well. So his Patreon account is fairly inexpensive. And the reason why I like this guy is he's a former marketer, and he gives real life uses of AI.
Mm.
And like you,
Mm.
he looked at several differences. So his name is Blazing
Blazing
Zebra.
Zebra.
Yes.
Definitely. He's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Oh,
Now, he has a lot of
he's
great free stuff on YouTube.
yes,
And I tell people,
yes,
start with that for free. And I've
yes,
consumed everything he puts out. And then he has a
yes,
Patreon account, which is very expensive. I think like $10 a month or something crazy.
yeah.
But his meeting
It
is on like Tuesday at 11. There's a time slot where I just can't make it. And it's in my calendar every
right,
week. Because I always tell
right.
myself, if ever I get out of that other meeting, I'm gonna sign up for Blazing Zebra. He's phenomenal. Okay, well, there's a hot takeaway. Everybody watching this, check out Blazing Zebra.
Good. You
And
have
I'm
the
gonna,
information. Yeah,
yeah,
he's phenomenal. And in my opinion, if you want to learn,
yeah,
his content, his paid content is well worth it. Yep, that's him.
yes, yes.
Because he gives you an extremely detailed step by step by step by step that really makes sense. And again, he creates, this is where I learned about those gyms was from him.
You know, the other thing I heard you when you start off with the gyms, and you also start off with that you use Google already. And I know because you're in the mortgage business, that's a important question is the privacy part. I said that's Blazing Zebra. I know that whole talk because I saw the video on it, and it kind of brought me into it. I will say I also use some other ones that I pay
Oh, yes.
for security
Hmm.
reasons. Okay, that's anybody watching this. I'm telling you, this guy is good. Blazing Zebra. He has like 64,000 subscribers. He puts videos out. He does really push the Google products because so many
Hmm.
people have it affiliated with their work. And if you do, from a privacy point, it makes sense. Also, from a convenience point, you're already in your Google Mail. The automation there is fantastic.
Yep. I want to hit one point on consumer, and just just for a consumer tip for those consumers out there, using AI to check for scams.
Mm.
Screenshot, drop it into, because most people have a Google account, and you don't have to have a paid account to do this. You could just do it with your Gmail, which does a pretty good job of looking for spammy emails and stuff like that. But if
Mm.
in doubt, and you can just ask Gemini how to do it, it will give you the step-by-step instructions. You can do a screenshot and say, is this a scam?
Wow.
And Gemini will look for it because, especially when we're talking about our reverse mortgage customers, I'm trying to always think of how to protect them. This is where AI can really, really help you because it can do the thinking for you.
Yeah, it is amazing. We live in amazing times. I had experience last week. My computer, and I have a high end graphics computer, I do a lot of video work,
Hmm.
and it was making a loud noise at the fan. And I had bought it through Best Buy. The company I used it through was like a private label through Best Buy. So they have no online, there's nobody you can talk to. The online's worthless. I went to Best Buy to the Geek Squad, thinking maybe I'll pay somebody a couple $100 and they'll fix it. And their advanced answer was, you probably just have to replace the whole computer. And it's like, really? It's probably just the fan.
Hmm.
I mean, I could probably service it myself, but, take time to do it. And so I actually went to Gemini and said, put in the model number and it's making a lot of noise. And it said, well, here's a couple things you might want to do. And ended up replacing the fan, and it cost like $50 or something, and it wasn't a big deal. And so I think we live in a time now where Google used to have answers, but you'd have to search through a bunch of stuff.
Hmm.
Now you get an answer in your phone just by asking a question. It's just an amazing opportunity. And as a business person, uh, none of us are using it enough. None of us are exploring with it enough. None of
Yeah.
us are playing with it enough, I think.
Well, let's talk about it just from a consumer viewpoint, since we hit that for
Yeah.
just a second. Staying on the Google platform because again, it's accessible to everybody. NotebookLM. So
So
through
talk about that.
Blazing,
I've played with that,
yeah.
and I watched his videos on that, and I just have not figured out how to be productive. So talk about how do you use NotebookLM? What have you done with it that's been productive for you?
So I use it in a couple of different ways, and I'll tell you how I use it consumer wise and LO wise. So on consumer wise, I dump there are normally links into any service manual, et cetera, of any appliance that you have.
Mm.
Notebook LM lets me drop that link into Notebook LM, and now I can throw away the paper, or more importantly, I can also say I bought it on this date. Now I have all my appliance information available to me in case I need any repairs. That's a very practical one,
Hmm.
just from there. Um, I use it for books. I read a lot of books. There's a lot of books that I want to read. If you get the PDF version of the book, which is pretty easy to do, there's sites that you can get that. You can load that into Notebook LM. Now there is a limit if you get the free account, but again, I have the paid, so I got lots of those. But you can load that book in, and because a lot of mine are technical books and stuff, I can now research my own private library. The key of Notebook LM is I decide what it's going to reference. So it doesn't go anywhere outside my corral. You talked about the YouTube video. So you use a different service. Here's where Notebook LM would help you for that. Notebook LM does the same thing. It reads the YouTube translation, for lack of better words, gives you a summary. You can ask it all the questions for that. But now you can put 30 of them together and they can start interacting with each other. And there's an extension that lets you feed it into Notebook LM. And I do a notebook per major topic, major subject.
Got it. And I've looked into doing that for each of my podcasts. If I put all the episodes in, that I could create at the end some sort of a GPT that people who wanted to know more about reverse mortgages or I have Probate
Hmm.
Weekly would be able to get information there. I'm not sure what value that is. I've been playing with that a little bit. I haven't come up with anything highly
Well, it could
productive. But
help you create better podcasts because you can see what topics you've talked about a lot, what topics you haven't talked about. It can look for those keywords.
right,
So, from an analyst viewpoint, from a consumer's viewpoint, that's the key with Notebook. You build it's no different than me reaching out and grabbing the notebook behind me.
right,
Where do I keep all the information? And since it does YouTube videos, website links, and then, of course, the beautiful thing is you can create a Google Doc and put all the links in that, and it updates it.
yeah,
Gemini doesn't update a document, but NotebookLM, when you do updates, you can update the source.
nice.
So,
Yeah, I know Notebook has a lot of potential. Again, it's one of those things that I've been playing with and haven't really hit out yet anything productive. But I appreciate that. I'm going to take another stab at that as a result.
yep.
Okay, any other last things on AI? Any other projects? I know we had.
No, so again, use it to, don't be afraid of it. If you don't embrace it, you don't have to be an expert with it. Just play with it. So I agree with you. Same thing. Incorporating your life on a on purpose basis. Use it to deep diver. You can dive into your financial statements, see where you're spending your money, all sorts of things. Again, do that in the Gemini or the notebook. And then creation. Help you get sparking ideas.
It
Wonderful
is interesting
tools.
as a personal, like I walk a neighborhood every day for exercise, and I'll see a tree, and I'll just take a picture of the tree and ask what it is. And it'll give me the whole detail of what species it
Hmm.
is. I mean, the days of Google was a step up to get information, and I think this GPT is just another level up, whether it be by camera scanning or uploading documents. And we have a chance to go a lot deeper. I think we have to set our standards higher. So, well, good.
Well,
Well,
it's
let's
a
check back in.
tricorder. Yeah.
I'm sorry, let's check back in when next time we have you on an episode. We're going to update on Blazing Zebra and see what else you have from that.
Okay.
Great input. Again, it's interesting. I could tell from when you talked, he's by far the most actually valuable in terms of productivity of all the AI people talk about. A lot of people talk about the market and the investment and all that's interesting. And all the realtor stuff, they're going to show you a whole program on how to write your description as a real estate agent on a listing. Well, that only takes 10, 15 minutes anyhow. It's not
Hmm.
that hard. Yeah, I've put it in and played with it, and I'm not sure I love the results, but I'm working with it a little bit. But that's not a big work activity. I will say it's been great for CMAs because I'll take
Hmm.
my Cloud CMA, which is a service that I use, and I'll have it search the automated evaluation models, and then there's a fourth one that I subscribe to. I'll upload that one, and then get a nice summary of all of that. I got an executive summary that I can send to an attorney and link all the documents rather than a standard CMA. I'm really sending them an email, which is all I want. What's the
Hmm.
bottom line? What are the main factors behind it? And if I want more information, where do I go? And I give them all that. And that's been a nice level up on my material. I don't know that I would say that it's game changer, but I like it. I feel proud of the
Hmm.
work I do as a result of that. So that's one way I've used it. Okay, so AI, we had a chance to talk about that, and obviously
Hmm.
David's a great resource. Anybody interested in more information, get back to him on that, and also check out Blazing Zebra. Let's talk a little bit about one of the things that I know we spoke about previously that you feel strongly about, and I've come to really appreciate, is the CRMP designation. I've been in real estate since 1986, so now 40 years, and I've seen more designations than I have automobiles. I've seen in a real estate, the designation isn't worth the money you pay for it. I've taken 5 classes of various certifications in the probate space. I didn't even use any of them in my email. It's just the fact I have a designation doesn't mean anything. However, the one area that I've noticed that when I talk to an originator, I can tell if they're high quality or not is CRMP. If they're a CRMP, they're a high quality originator. If they're not, they may or may not be. But if they're a CRMP, you're serious. You're a notch above. You take it serious. You hold yourself to high standards. Talk a little bit about why that is.
So, right. I love the way you asked the question because this is what popped in my mind of the difference. Because the reality is the designation, you and I both know, Bill, you can buy a designation. You can go do a 4-hour class, take a quiz while it's top of your mind,
Mm-hmm.
and boom, now you're an expert without ever having done a transaction.
Mm-hmm.
Can we agree on that?
100%.
Okay. And that's 90 to 95% of all designations, if you think about it. Because with you in real estate, we're going to see if we agree on this. What you just said about CRMP, I would say, because we're old enough, about the GRI And then there was the other one that we used to have in real estate for the broker side. And I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it was a big deal. And here's the difference. The CRMP designation requires that you learn it, do it, understand it before you can get certified in it. And here's why that's important. The reverse mortgage product gives you a lot of freedom, and if you're in the business, you know it's also it's a good product to sell. It doesn't hurt your pocketbook. That attracts a lot of people to it, and you don't understand the impacts of it until you've done 5, 10, 15 transactions. And if you're not prospecting for it, it may take you years to get to 15 transactions.
Right.
The CRMP course says, hey, before you can even talk to us, you got to show us a continuous 3 years of continuous activity, not a onesie twosie, or 50 transactions, and a letter from your supervisor that verifies that you've actually lived this world. You've walked this walk.
Wow.
And what that gave me perspective for when I went to apply for it is, oh yeah, now I understand the damage I can cause with this product. And I don't want to do that. And that's a decision point.
And there are companies
and that's what changes it.
There are companies that have people who are certified and people who are not, or you can refer to somebody in your company who is certified, or you can refer to somebody who's not in your company who's certified, right? Those are all different options. But I think the thing that I got is a recognition that there's a value to the expertise. It's not just, and again, in real estate, I feel like every agent who's interested, express interest, is interested in, I want to get this designation so I can get more deals, versus I want to be better at my craft, and then more people want to work with me.
Yes. Well, and that's just it, because you're right. You don't have to get certified. Anybody can do a reverse mortgage.
Right.
But if you want to use it as something that really impacts people's lives,
right,
then you want to hang out with other experts that aren't telling you how to get more deals. We're talking about how to structure a deal to help somebody. And it's a mindset, and it's a door that we choose to open. And you could, so I'll share this experience. And the next reverse shirt that I'm wearing is actually is not me. It's a gentleman named Lauren Riddick, who is one of the founders of the CRMP designation. He helped write the test. He helped get the guidelines together, et cetera. And he did it for just exactly these reasons of there's a mindset of helping the consumer, and it costs you money. It costs me money every year to keep this designation, and it's the only designation I'll spend money on, because it's a mindset that says we're going to help the consumer. Pure
yeah,
and
I mean, I've
simple.
seen other designations that, like for me, I'll take a class and in 4 hours I'll get a couple nuggets here or there, but I see it's one that the other thing it builds a camaraderie because of the mutual respect. That's also not common, meaning there are people who kind of congregate in a class around the teacher. But in the CRMP in particular, I find that they have meetings and they have phone calls and they have this, they have that. And it's not just they have it; it's that people participate in them because they value their colleagues and the opportunity to learn.
Oh, Laura, so when I walked into this lender, and Lauren, I introduced myself to Lauren because I heard there was a reverse guy in this group. So we tend to seek each other out. Where we like minds seek like. It's like I found a long lost brother, because we both knew that we had a common connection in mindset, which is servant leadership. So yeah, it's the only designation I'm proud of. Every other one I've just bought.
Wow. Well, I know I've reached out to Lauren again as a guest on the program. He'd be a real get. I know.
Yes.
I'll you know what?
I'll help with that.
Yeah, I'd love to have him on. He's a great guy. I love the program he runs in every respect, and nothing but respect for him and the company and the way he runs things. So talk a little bit. I know now Lauren's also with Nexa.
Just joined.
Just joined. I didn't know that. Okay. I know he was with. Yeah, he used to be with the company. I knew that.
Yes.
Wow, congratulations. So talk a bit.
Thank you.
But what obviously Nexa is a big player in the field, quality player in the field. But talk about building a team. Now I know you mentioned you have staff. Do you have other originators underneath you? Do you have other originators that that you
So
work and
so
coach with, or how does it
and
work?
and Laura and I are doing kind of the same thing. So, and again, this is kind of that CRMP thing. I want to bring people in and teach them the right way of doing the business. Lauren does too, hence the next the reverse. He's taking it on a broader scale. For me, I do it on a more one-on-one scale. But yes, the LOs that work in my branch, which is Senior Resources Mortgages, they're trained on how to do reverse mortgage. There, it's not, and I don't train them unless it's their passion. If you're just looking to add another leg to your tool, no, go talk to other people. But if you really want to be passionate about helping the consumer, then you need to be surrounded by like minds. So I think being able to join a team where this is a specialty and there's a passion to it, again, that's what we do. That's why we're here.
The challenge you guys face is there's an opportunity that's amazing. In my estimation as a professional, and this was my thesis when I started, and 80 episodes into this, I've only confirmed it. There should be 10 times more reverse mortgages done than there are today, just with the
Yes,
current economic condition. I'm not talking about
yes, I
some
agree.
new renaissance of real estate in America. I'm just saying with the people own houses today and are buying houses today, the same profile, it's going to change, but just today,
Hmm.
we should do 10 times more, but for lack of education, lack of originators, lack of, and the poor reputation from years past. And I've talked about that in
Hmm.
prior episodes, and we go into that detail.
Yep.
At the same time, the pool of originators to become reverse, you mentioned, just to add the leg, doesn't really work. It's too complicated. It's a whole different, it's a whole different world of product,
It's a
and
different sales process.
totally different. Not only that, the originators, in my experience, are the most transactional of any group in America. I mean, realtors
Hmm.
are guilty of that to a degree, but good realtors learn how to focus on creating value for their customers. Originators, I don't think they ever have. I just feel like it's all interest rate driven. It so distorts the market that almost all are almost exclusively transactional. And as a result, if you're failing and you're a transactional person, going to reverse mortgage isn't going to help unless you change your personality, unless you change your style, unless you change your motivation and your out, which doesn't happen. People go
Hmm.
into it trying to bring their bad characteristics into their field and monetize. It doesn't work that way. And so I almost feel like you need to have 5 to 10 times more originators, but you can't get them from the forward group. Like there's some,
No.
maybe there's 5% or 10%, but there's not enough. So what do you guys do to build the team? And obviously you can poach other companies, and nothing wrong with competitive recruiting, but it doesn't help the industry. What does the industry
Right.
do to find more originators?
Well, so it's as some of our originators age in, I find that's if I
Agreed.
was to have one predictable comment of what starts to identify a potential CRMP, their age. The story that comes into mind is I have children like everybody else, and my son came home. He was 20 years old. He's still living at home. He got a job, and he's coming home. Hey, I got to demonstrate this product to you. We've all been there, sales position. So we sit down, and he starts telling me about this box that's going to do this and that and the other thing, and it's only $350. I said, son, it's a $50 thermostat sitting on the wall. The problem is you've never paid an electrical bill, so you bought into this stuff.
Mm,
Well, reverse mortgage is the same way. If I'm 35 years old, conceptually, I don't understand why this thing is necessary. But when I start hitting 60 and I start thinking about retirement and cash flow and assets and where I'm at in life, and I now understand the power of a reverse mortgage, that's where your advocates are created.
mm.
So that's what I look for. Show me that little bit older originator who understands and values the relationship, just like you said, because that's the other difference. With a reverse mortgage client, I get calls from them on a daily, weekly basis about all sorts of things. You're much more of an advisor of their life than a mortgage officer.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree. I think that's the at a certain age they're gonna figure that out, and there's that would be the likely plan for a originator who's in the business is start moving in
Hmm.
that direction. And I think also then leveraging all the people we've done business with over the years, past clients, attorneys, and I know originators will say, well, I don't really have a database. Well, yeah, you've done like 100 transactions. They all have people attached. You just too
Hmm.
lazy and too transaction focused. But you can go back and recreate all that, and you have a business that's already sitting in your life.
Now, just to put a bow on this whole thing, and you can use AI to analyze your transactions
There
and
you go.
create that CRM.
There you go. Even if you change companies, you can go back and search your past transactions through your own
Hmm.
email or different your calendar, your phone. There's ways to get all that and put it all together in some spot. And that
Yep.
brings it back. Well, good. Well, look, Dave, we've gotten a little longer than scheduled, and for the amount I'm paying you per hour, I can't afford that. Just kidding. Obviously, your wealth of knowledge. I appreciate the talk on AI, the value of the CRMP, and then also building a team. Somebody who's interested in talking to you more about any of those items, I think the best way to reach you, put it in the banner down below. Is that the best way? Your
That is the
phone number?
very best way to reach me. Yep. That phone
Okay.
number follows me everywhere.
Okay. And then we also have your LinkedIn
Yep.
profile is another place to find you as well for more information. If you're a LinkedIn person, feel free to go there. And
Hmm.
otherwise, you can give him a call, and he's on there. David, it's always a pleasure to chat with you, learn about the business, and to, I think, see what the highest standards look like in our industry. Thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, thank you, Bill. It's always a pleasure. And I'll do that introduction for you.
I would love that. That'd be fantastic. Thanks so much. And for the rest of you, this is Reverse Mortgage Podcast. We get together with an episode every week, usually with top originators, sometimes with vendors or managers, to learn about how to both use the product better for our customers and for ourselves, raise our standards. If I can help in any way, please reach out at Bill Gross Probate on social media. And as always, make today your best day ever. Thanks so much.